Transparency in whiskey is something that I always strive for. So when Chris from Bourbon of the Week challenged me to be open about how I obtain my unicorns, I couldn't help but rise to the challenge. So I'm going to talk about the 5 ways that I have obtained all of the unicorns in my collection. Stay tuned after the break and we're going to talk about it. So Chris from Bourbon of the Week made a video announcing how he got all of his unicorns. If you want to watch it, it is right there. Please watch that, then come back and watch mine. Once you've seen that, or if you've already seen it and you came here from his video, thank you for watching. If you are a frequenter here at Gentlemen of Whiskey, you may notice that this is my first video since May. I will talk about that at the end, but we're going to get to the content first, and then we'll talk about the rest. So these are, there's not really a list of 5 ways, but these are the 5 ways that I personally have obtained all of the unicorns in my collection. There are some bottles behind me that people may consider to be unicorns. These are the ones that I consider unicorns. These are the ones that are special to me, and I was really excited to get. So starting out with the first way, and the first 2 bottles, you'll notice that they're here next to me. They're Jack Daniel's 12 and a Stag Junior. That is friendship. So the first way has been friendships, and simply these were bottles that my friends saw on shelves and were willing to pick these up for me, and I obviously paid them for them. Jack Daniel's 12 was from Brett, who has been on the channel at different times. He was in Maryland when Jack Daniel's 12 was dropping, and everybody was freaking out about it, saying how awesome it was. He was like, hey, I saw this. It was 120 bucks. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Still a little bit above MSRP, but I was down. It was great to have, and it ended up being one of the top bottles of 2023. So thank you to Brett. Really appreciate it. And then the Stag is a 23A, and that is thanks to Jeff, who from the 717 Bourbon Society. He's a great dude. He has some connections with some store owners, places in New York, and he said, hey, I can get these for 150 bucks. Do you want a 23A for 150 bucks? I said, sure. Stag is one of my favorite bourbons. I really enjoyed it, and I'm always down for it, so I didn't mind paying that price, even though it is a little bit above, well, almost triple, between double and triple MSRP. But I think they're worth that, so here we are. So yeah, friendships, definitely making friends with people in the whiskey community and helping each other out. If you know there's stuff that other people are looking for, you pay it forward, you invest in that friendship. I know Chris talked about that in a couple of his bottles, especially as well they're foolproof. I think friendships, and really in general, are great things. Helping people find stuff is a step towards making things not toxic, and I'm all about that. So friendships, first thing. The second thing is going to be a few bottles here. This one is 13th Colony Double Oaked. This is Old Fitzgerald. This is Rock Hill Farms. And this is Old Forester 150th. These are some of the bottles that I've gotten in online drops. 13th Colony Double Oaked was seal box. The rest of these were fine wine and good spirits. Online drops are a great way to find bottles, especially at MSRP. I actually got all of these at MSRP, even though the 13th Colony is $200. That is technically MSRP. The Rock Hill Farms I got $450. The Old Fitz I got for whatever MSRP is. I think it's $120. And then the Old Forester was $150. That was years ago, and that bottle is honestly on its last legs, and I probably need to kill it. Online drops can be a great way of figuring things out, but they can also be super frustrating. I know I have lost on just as many online drops as I have hit on. My advice, I guess, is, especially for fine wine and good spirits, because I mean, Sealbox lets you know ahead of time on certain things. You got to make sure you're signed in. You got to make sure you know what you're buying, and you've got to streamline the process as much as possible. You get it into cart, you get it into checkout, and you go. I know we've all had a hard time with the recent Russell's Reserve 15 drops. They were very frustrating, and I hit add to cart probably 1,000 times and still made it out without one. Hope to find that at some point when Pennsylvania gets there. But it is the luck of the draw. Sometimes it takes an insane amount of luck, and that is how most of these went. It's good to be good, but it's better to be lucky. So online drops, second way. All right, this one, lotteries. Enter as many as you can, especially in Pennsylvania. There are generally 2 to 4 lotteries. I think there was 4 lotteries last year. I think it's shaping up to be 2 this year. I know a lot of people think that people don't win lotteries. I won this from Fine Wine and Good Spirits. It does happen, but also don't hold your breath. I was very excited to have won this. I actually think it's a really good bottle. And I have also won an Elmer Tea Lee, but you will never see that on my unicorns list because I hate it. And a stag, whatever. So we're just going to gloss over that. Lotteries, join as many as you can. And eventually, hopefully, you'll be lucky. Or maybe you won't. The next one is store loyalty. And I'm going to kind of talk about this in two parts because these are bottles. The Jack Daniel's Coy Hill and the Russell's 13 are bottles that I pounded the pavement, spent a lot of time waiting in lines fruitlessly, and then eventually got lucky when these dropped in Pennsylvania. Being loyal to the store, being loyal to those around you, trying to get information, and then just being consistent. I know it sucks because the one time you won't be able to go is the time that the thing that you really want drops, and that has happened to me just as many times as finding these. But Coy Hill, I was super excited for. Ended up grabbing because I think I went 6 weeks straight and I spent probably an hour each time, 12 hours of my life waiting in line. Got that bottle, which is now, $800, $900 secondary. Is it worth it? I don't know. I am able to do it. There are people who are not able to do it, and I feel for them. I definitely do. This was something that I was able to do, and it rewarded me a bottle. Actually rewarded me 2 bottles because the Russell's 13 was the same way. That is one way. Pound the pavement, know your stores around you, know when they get deliveries, and make relationships. So the making relationships part of that is the other 2 bottles here. So Van Winkle Lot B and Parker's Heritage Weeded. There's a store pretty close to me in Maryland. It's about an hour away called Sauble's Markets. And the guy that manages it, Nick, is a friend of mine. He's been on the channel. I met him from just going to his store. I met him, we hit it off, we talked about whiskey, and we talked about whiskey in a live stream, and we have another one upcoming. We need to nail down the dates for that, but we are going to do a State of the Industry 2024 where Nick and I talk about where we think the whiskey industry's at. I will come at it from a consumer perspective, he'll come at it from a store perspective, and we'll kind of give you the ins and outs of how we think things are going. Nick, both of these bottles, hooked me up. I have friends who take samples to their store owners. These guys don't always, because they're trying to turn a profit, they don't always get to taste the things that people are super after. So if that's a thing that you can do, definitely take them samples. Don't be a dick. Don't walk in, not buy anything and ask for Blanton's. That generally doesn't go over well, especially in Pennsylvania. Once you've made a friendship or you're talking or you're sitting there buying a couple of bottles, ask, hey, do you ever get Blanton's? Do you ever get Stag? Those are the kind of conversations that you have instead of just walking up to somebody in the aisle like, hey, do you get Blanton's? They say no, and you just walk out. That's not making any friendships. That's not making any relationships. That is not benefiting the store owner in any way. You're just wasting his time. And then there's kind of another side to that. This is a bottle of Blanton's that I got at a store called Georgetown Wine and Spirits in Georgetown, Tennessee. So they run a point system. It basically rewards loyalty to the store. I bought 5 bottles of store picks and then 2 bottles of Evan Williams Bottled and Bond and a few other things. And that got me enough points to purchase this at MSRP, I think it was like $170. These are the kind of things that building a relationship with your store or knowing your area can help you find. And it doesn't necessarily require spending 6 hours. Sometimes it's having a conversation and being a decent human being. Number 4, I think that's all that I got here. So we'll pull these off. The final, the dirty, the secondary market and trading. So these are examples of bottles that I have gotten on the secondary market. And I think it's important to be transparent about it because these are bottles that are highly sought after. This is a Stag store pick. I think I traded 3 Blantons for that. And then this is a George T. Stag. I traded a Weller single barrel and a Weller full proof and an Elmer Tea Lee for that. So I overpaid a little bit. We'll talk about maybe why I overpaid for this bottle in a second. And that will segue us into where I've been for the last 3 months. So the secondary market is, I think, what is the bane of every whiskey enthusiast experience. It is something that none of us like to talk about, but it is absolutely a thing. And you know what? I don't like it, but there are some things that I want to have and I'm never going to come across. So I am willing to overpay a little bit. The secondary market is something that people think will just stop existing if people stop buying it. And that is not true of many other industries until supply catches up. It's not true of the graphics card industry. That really didn't lose its value until mining wasn't as profitable and stores started getting more stock. Xboxes, PlayStations, shoes, all of those things have had secondary markets where people buy things and then they resell them. Whiskey is no different except that it's illegal. There is a market for these things, and hopefully someday we will see the supply meet demand and we won't have a secondary market anymore. Until then, I dabble. You can judge me for that if you want to, but I try to navigate it in a way that is still fiscally responsible. I put out a video that is actually my largest video of all time, talking about 5 whiskeys that I'm willing to overpay for. And in that video, I talk more, I think, about the secondary market and how I value things. And I think that is an important conversation that we need to have as WhiskeyTube. And that's why I like talking about how we obtain our unicorns. And I love that Chris started this trend. That's where we're at. I've dabbled in the secondary market, and you can judge me if you want to. So, all right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of where I've been. Elephant in the room. I have been gone since May. There's a couple different reasons for that, and we're going to kind of dive into those. The first one being this bottle of George T. Stagg I have obtained, and it is in part because this is the bottle that I'm going to open when my child comes in December. So we found out in April that we are expecting, and that is a huge shock. We've been trying to get ready for that. We are first-time parents, and it's exciting. It's going to be a ride, and we are trying to figure all of that out. I also have had some other health concerns. I know I've taken steps back because I have gout. I've had some kind of scary health stuff that I don't have a whole lot of answers about, but doesn't seem super serious. But I've had some testing going on, and I had been requested by my doctor to not drink for a while. I've been cleared to drink in small amounts. So we're trying to be as healthy as possible, but also build a community here and do the thing that I love, because I love making these videos. Gentlemen in Whiskey is not ending. It'll probably be a little sporadic once our baby comes, but we're going to figure that out. I don't want to just kind of wash away all the stuff that I've built, and you guys are a great community. And I'm so glad that you've watched me and are enjoying things. We're closing in on 2,000 subs, which is awesome. So I don't want to be done here, just trying to figure out what life looks like from here on out. So it's probably going to be 2 shorts in a video a week. And if I can figure out some margin, maybe we'll go back to 2 videos a week. Stay tuned. We're gonna have some more videos coming. We're gonna keep doing some stuff on the big board, because that I think is very fun. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna get some more live streams on the schedule. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I would like to nominate Bourbon Bill. Bourbon Bill, I'd love to hear how you've gotten all your unicorns. I also would love to know what you consider your unicorns. You have a kind of atypical view of things in the whiskey market. So if you are not following Bourbon Bill, definitely go find his videos, subscribe to Bourbon Bill. He's definitely got a unique perspective on things. So if you like this content, check out our other videos. Please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out a ton. We're closing in on 2,000. Would love to hit it before the end of the year. So stay tuned for new content. And as always, we hope you'll join us in drinking like a gentleman. Cheers. The next set of bottles are going to be ones that... Cut that part, John.